So you start off by talking about, are you limited in any way? Is there a next step for you to get to as far as what you can do physically, or restricted in any way, shape, or form at this time?
No, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily limited. I think we're just being cautious and being smart in the fact of I'm not doing things when there's a pass rush or guys, potentially falling at the legs or so or something of that nature. But as far as saying I can't do drills or I can't do something, I'm pretty much full go.
So how did it feel to be back out there today, yesterday, and be back with your team in those kind of live situations, third partial?
Yeah, I mean, it felt great. I mean, after long months of recovery and just rehab of just main goal is just getting back out there with my teammates, getting back on the field, running a huddle, building that camaraderie on the field. It was just exciting yesterday and carrying over today, but so much that we can build on as a team and me personally. But it's just exciting to know that the game is back and I'm able to be a part of it.
Are there any benchmarks you still need to clear to get back to feeling everything the way you felt before getting hurt?
No, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I think, as I said, not being limited or not being restricted to doing anything kind of says it alone that I'm ready to go. I mean, I don't know as far as being tackled or the ankle being jerked and stuff under a pile. Obviously, we're not there yet, but we're far from being there. So I'm good to go, really.
Dak, when did you feel like you were okay when you were doing drills over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it'd be hard to say the exact date, but I'd say a few weeks ago. Maybe even close to a month in the sense. But just the first time I started jumping on this leg and landing on this leg alone, cutting off of this leg, doing a lot of the things that I naturally do in a game and doing them in a reactive form of not necessarily a calculated, I'm a cut here, but just reacting and being able to do those moves and not feeling anything and not necessarily having a nagging residual pain afterwards. I felt like then I was ready to go.
Are there things you need to do to longer to warm up, or things you need to do post-practice now that you wouldn't have done with this thing?
I mean, yeah, I think I probably need a little bit more of extended warm-up than some of the guys, or than the warm-up you may just see as the team takes, just to get the leg going and just get the rest of my body going. And more, I like to break a sweat and do that just so my mind's off of it and I'm not working out or dropping back on a cold ankle to say that. But after the fact, not necessarily. I mean, obviously still the rehab process. It's still things that I have to do to make sure that it's not causing a residual effect and nagging and lagging pain. So for the most part, just following the trainers and doing everything that they've been asking me to do. And it felt good from day one to day two. So right now I think it's just building up that endurance, being able to make sure if we're going again tomorrow that I could do that and be ready to go 5, 6, 7 days straight if I needed to.
Is that something that you will probably always do now, sort of the extended warm-up kind of thing, or is that just now closer to the injury itself?
I'd just say it's closer to the injury, but it's the extended warm-up something I actually like, just getting the body going all the way around. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys continue to see me doing that. I mean, long after this injury, as I said, just because of the way it makes me feel.
Do you have no residual pain or soreness after any sort of drills with it?
No, not necessarily. But obviously, we've only just had two days back to back, and fortunate tomorrow can be a recovery day. So just trying to stay with the plan right now and be smart with it. But haven't had any, and hoping just continue to take care of my body so it doesn't sneak up on me or I don't have to take a step back.
How where you are now, you don't go beyond back-to-back days. You always take that third day off as far as really pushing it.
I mean, right now it's just been the plan more than anything. So, but when we have a third day in a row, I hope by that time that comes that I'm ready to go and I don't have to take that third day as a break. So it's just kind of been the plan of the offseason. Monday, Tuesday, you kind of recover on Wednesday and then go back at it Thursday, Friday, sneak in another day during the weekend. So that's just kind of been the plan all recovery and rehab process. So no reason to change it right now.
How important are your legs to your throwing ability? How much does that base matter?
Huge. I mean, the throw and me and the way that I've been working, it all begins pretty much with the ground and with my ankle using my hips and creating that ground force from the ankle up. So, I mean, that's super important. It's something that I continue to work on. And as I said, that's one of the main reasons I don't want the pain or the residual effect to happen where now I'm throwing with my arm or I'm trying to do too much with my upper body rather than letting my whole body work.
There was that stretch in practice where there was an interception followed by a PBU shortly thereafter. I was just curious what your takeaway was from that. Was it any part related to the base of your body that we're talking about?
I mean, one of them was on the run, and that's just in the sense of right now in OTAs, I'm not going to necessarily throw the ball away. I want to try to make some throws. I want to try to get some receivers to know that, hey, I'll throw it to you in these situations, but you got to go and get the ball and we can be on the same page. But today was a great day coming off of yesterday. Not to say that my legs got tired, but I felt them more than I did yesterday. So no excuses, just something that I've got to move forward. As I said, continue to build that endurance.
You talked about feeling okay. You talked about feeling okay about a month ago, Dak. What has that process been like of learning to trust your leg? What have you learned about that?
It's been fun. I mean, I had great doctors and great trainers and everybody that played a part in this rehab. So just to trust that everything that I've done and to trust myself that all the work that I've put in, that the ankle is fine, that some of these movements it's more about the psychological effect of me not being able to do them rather than my leg can't do them. So just to trust it, to push it, but just to know I've got, as I said, take care of my body as well on the back end, that those days and those times when I do push it to the further extent that I'm hurting myself or giving me a chance that I have to take a step back.
Is that a deal where there's specific moments where you feel breakthroughs, or is it more gradual than that?
I'd say it's more gradual, just in the sense as a couple of weeks ago, I mean, y'all saw me handing off the ball and carrying out my fake. A couple of weeks ago, I may have been a little bit more timid where the last few days I was really trying to push it and I was trying to go further than I normally would carrying out the fake, just as I said, just for that psychological effect to say, hey, you're good, you're fine, you see you're doing it. So as the more reps happen, the better and better it feels.
Dak, did you reach out to Alan Hearns? Because he went through something similar. Did you talk to him to see what this was going to be like?
Yeah, definitely. I talked to Alan. Alan was one of the ones that reached out to me right after it happened, obviously, and we shared a little bit of what he went through and just knowing how strong Alan was and his comeback and just seeing him on the field a year after. Just allows you to have another sense of confidence in yourself and just the people around you to knowing that I'll be able to go out there just like he did and return from this.
Dak, when you signed your contract, you talked about wanting to come back for your health and also wanting to continue to instill the culture as a leader. How have you had opportunities to do that over the last couple months, and what have the virtual meetings or being back in the facility been like?
I mean, it's just been great getting around the team, having pretty much the whole team here for OTAs, or I think the whole team. It's great. You just see all the guys that want to work. They want to get better. Obviously, coming off a season like we had last year, without a lot of wins and with a lot of injuries, guys are just hungry. Just so to be able to come back and have the sense of urgency that we do in the locker room and on the field, it's been fun. It's been fun to lead the guys and, as you said, build that camaraderie on the field and off the field when we get a chance.
You've had some teams kind of not either be involved in the offseason program as a group or not everybody at the OTAs the way you guys have had it here. How much of an advantage do you think that could be for you guys when the season starts, that you've had such good attendance?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be huge. It's going to pay off. I mean, and obviously the mental aspect and knowing the scheme, whether it's the defense learning the new scheme or whether it's offense just being on the same page and communicating better, I think it's going to pay off huge when we get to training camp, to have that maybe that step that these other teams might not take during the offseason, for us to get that and then to build off of that in the training camp and just continue to grow as we get into the season.
Can you share what some of those conversations were with your teammates about deciding to be out here for this when there were a lot of teams that publicly said they were going to stay away?
Believe it or not, there wasn't many conversations about not showing up, coming from me and coming from other guys and a lot of leaders. I mean, obviously, we talked to some of the NFLPA reps just on what those meetings are about. But as far as these guys in this locker room, didn't really hear much talk or have much conversations about guys not showing up, to be honest with you.
It's about a year since George Floyd passed, and the sports world kind of changed a little bit there. Just your thoughts about where we are now as a society, in terms of sports and what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say anybody. I don't think anybody would say where we are where we need to be. We're continuing to grow it as a community, as a country. I think people are doing a better job of listening. I think people are doing a better job of not telling somebody how they feel necessarily, but trying to understand somebody else's perspective or their way of life. And it's obviously sad just to think about George Floyd and him losing his life in that manner. Even though Derek Chauvin was convicted, sometimes you never really get justice when somebody loses their life. So it's obviously just important for all of us just continue to learn, continue to grow as a community, as one another, regardless of race, economic background, or wherever we're from, so we can try to avoid and eliminate all those events and nasty things that continue to happen throughout our world.
Even before that, some of the money that you devoted was a group sharing, basically a police to have a better understanding of what the community goes through in the community with the police. Are you even more firmly committed to that being the approach going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I made that commit a year ago and nothing's changed. I have a Zoom call tomorrow about it, and we're still working. My foundation, along with a lot of people that care about this, that have a heart and bringing us together as communities, as races. Yeah, we're still working and we won't stop on it at all.
Dak, you've mentioned a couple of times that it's not quite to the point of, bodies falling around your legs and things like that. Is that something that's kind of on your mind that's a mental barrier down the road in terms of coming back from this?
No, not at all. By the time that comes, I won't be worried about my leg at all. And the fact of, I'm not now, but I don't think I would care if somebody fell on it, if somebody got close to my leg. And obviously I'm trusting the great offensive line we have, and I'm gonna trust how smart I am when I leave the pocket, whether to put myself in a vulnerable spot or not. But it's all about just playing the game the right way, trusting the guys in front of you. And if you do that, then you should never worry about injury of any sort.
Tyron and Lyle both practiced to some form today. Just your thoughts about seeing them together on the field and what that means for this offense, given how productive you guys were, by and large, without them the first 5 games last year.
Yeah, it was huge from yesterday to today. Having Zach Martin out there as well, it's just a great feeling. I've been rehabbing with those guys all off season long, just so to know the hard work that they've put in to get to where they are, to feel confident about their health, and just to know that they're in some of the best shape that they've ever been in their career, both of them. I'm excited just to get back out there and, as we said, take the huddle again and play with those guys.
You said a couple of times in the past few weeks that you could play in a game now, if necessary, be very successful. Do you still feel that way, or do you still need to work up to that after what you've done the last couple of days?
No, I still feel that way. Obviously, when you playing in a game, you're not playing in them back to back. No, I'd feel great if I had to go into a game, if I had the whole week to prepare for it. Obviously, I'd take it the right way and make sure my body's ready to go and manage when I needed to manage, but I could most definitely do that.
This offseason, the quarterback of your stature requested more say personnel with the front office. What does he listen to? Do you feel that as your contract secure that you need that from the Cowboys?
I think that's all depending on the person, depending on what they want, the obligations that they feel they should have. I trust the people around here that have those titles and have that positions, or have those positions to do what they need to, and I feel like they do ask me and they bring me into the rope of things when they feel like they should, and we have a great relationship. So I don't want to ever begin to compare what's going on here in Dallas and how we handle things to other organizations.
Why do you have Solak and not Garcia?
I heard. So I actually went to school with Solak's fiance, so that's where that connection comes from. And I wanted the powder blue jersey. They weren't selling them at the Ranger Stadium, so as friends do, they made it work for me. So I'm waiting on Garcia to show up with the jersey. Then maybe that'll be what I wear to the next game. So, yeah, appreciate you guys.
Thank you.